Hi everyone, this is Penny from Wacko Witch Astrology, and I'm here today to explain what are your big three. So if you've joined some of the astrology groups on Facebook, you probably hear this a lot. Blah, 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 etc., etc. Post your big three. And you might be wondering, what are my big three? What does that mean? And you feel like you're like a Martian, or maybe you feel like everyone else in the astrology group is the Martians because we have all this weird lingo. It might take a minute to catch on, but I have lots of astrology videos for beginners, totally free. So if you want to watch that and you want to get any help on how to read charts and things like that, those are there for you. But today we're just going over the big three. So what that means is sun, moon, and rising sign. So the reason why we've determined these to be the big three is because it is widely believed that they are the three planetary celestial bodies that influence our personality the most. And you know what the sun is, you know what the moon is, those are luminaries that you can see up in the sky on a day-to-day basis, but you might be wondering, what is the actual rising sign? Well, the rising sign is kind of just an extension of the sun sign. It's about where the sun was rising in the sky, what time of day you were actually born. So these things move faster than other planetary bodies, right? So the sun changes signs every 30 days. Most people know about that when they say, I'm an Aquarius, I'm a Leo, I'm a Libra. What most people are talking about is their sun sign. But then the rising sign actually changes signs every 2 hours. So you can also say, I'm a Virgo rising or I'm a Leo rising, depending on what time of day you were born. And it's going to change throughout the year. Like being born at 8 a.m. in August is not the same as being born at 8 a.m. in February. It would give you a different rising sign depending on what time of year you were born. And then there's also the moon sign, which changes signs every 2.5 days. With that being said, it's not in the same sign every day, every year. It changes from year to year. So just because we have the same birthday doesn't mean we have the same moon sign if it's going to be of different years. That's why you need a natal chart calculator, which I will have one linked below. There's one on my website, and you can get that information for free. And then if you want to purchase a little bit of a report after that, you can, totally optional, but the first thing is free. So the other thing I want to talk about is that Mercury at times does actually move faster than the sun, but Mercury is not consistent. And that's why we don't include Mercury in our big three. Mercury can move and change signs anywhere between every 15 to 60 days. So it varies a lot. Sometimes it's slower than the sun, sometimes it's faster than the sun. So how do these things actually affect our personality? Well, they all affect our personality in very strong ways. A lot of people like to argue about which one affects your personality more. I don't really think that is a reasonable argument to make. Like, they all affect your personality in huge ways and in slightly different ways. And like being a solar Capricorn is a little bit different from being a lunar Capricorn. If you want to watch videos about, your sun sign, I have those, and I have videos about moon sign as well. So you can figure out a little bit more about your specific sun sign and moon sign, and then other planets in your chart, all here on my channel. But the sun sign is basically the ego expression. It's what I need to feel motivated, to feel fueled, to be ready to get up and go in the morning. And it's kind of like a life force. It's part of what really keeps you alive here in the physical plane on a day-to-day basis. Now, the rising sign is more about how you actually express yourself and the role that you fit into in society. So the rising sign is going to have more influence over what career you actually choose, what kind of partners you date, but then there's also like other influences like Venus, for example. But the rising sign does have a lot of influence over the roles we choose in our lives, both in our families, our romantic relationships, everything. And the one thing I like to emphasize about the sun, because once we start diving deep into astrology, people start to take the sun sign for granted. But think of the sun in the solar system and how it shines light on our entire planet, and it shines so much light on what is around it. So I think of the sun as something that does play a little bit of influence in all other matters of life as well. It's not just ego expression. It can't be minimized to just your willpower. It does shed a different light on everything that we do in life, and it does play a really big influence. So I don't want to downplay that ever. The moon, however, is usually associated with our emotional selves. So that is the side of us that comes out in times of trouble, in times where we might be feeling emotionally distressed or emotionally upset. And in that, it's also kind of who we are down at our core. It's what remains of us in moments where we're very depressed, where we're just stripped away of other things that we had in our life. And it's the side of us that people don't see until they get to know us more personally. But then there are interesting things that we found too, like the moon sign tends to affect our tone of voice, because it affects the way we portray our emotions, and the emotion tends to reflect through in tone of voice. It might change the way we dress, or it might change certain specific behaviors. So again, you can't limit that just to being the emotions, and then you don't want to miss out on the other significance that the moon sign can essentially bring into your life. But those are your big three. It's really just the three big things that influence your personality the most as far as astrologers are concerned, and that is why we post them in astrology groups. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below, and make sure you are subscribed to my channel and following me on Facebook if you want to show me some thanks and help me pay for my earthly, worldly possessions and equipment and stuff. You can check me out on Patreon. Bye.